Alright, so here's a video for 2HT about exercise 14 and 15. So I made a selection of the exercises. I'm going to do A, B, E, and F. And from exercise 15 I'm going to do A, B, C. Now if there's another question that you have difficulties with, then feel free to contact me and I'll make a new video for you. Here it says in brackets 3 times the square root of 6 squared. Now squared means that you have to do it times itself. So that means we have to do 3 times the square root of 6 times 3 times the square root of 6. Now all these questions say either calculate or simplifies. That means that we just have to work this out to see what it will be. If you do a multiplication, this says 3 times the square root of 6 times 3 times the square root of 6. The order in which you calculate it doesn't matter. So first we're going to do 3 times 3, that's 9. And then we're going to do the square root of 6 times the square root of 6. Well, what you should know is that if you multiply a square root times itself, and it's the same number here, then you just get that number. So the square root of 6 times the square root of 6 is just 6. And this is going to be 54. So this is how you work out A. Well, B is very similar. Here it says minus 2 times the square root of 7 squared. So that means minus 2 times the square root of 7 times minus 2 times the square root of 7. Same as before, we're going to multiply these two numbers first with each other. Minus 2 times minus 2 is 4. And the square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is 7. So this will be 28. And that's the answer. Moving on to exercise E, you can see that it's going to be a bit different. Because now we have two things. First we have the square root of 11 squared. Well, square root and squared are each other's opposites. So that means that the answer is just 11. Then it says minus, so I'm going to write that down. And then it says 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. So then the answer will be 2. Now you should notice here that this minus is not in brackets. Like over here as an example. If the minus 3 is in brackets, then the answer will be 9. But if the minus is not in the brackets, then the answer will be minus 9. Just a small difference that I wanted to show you. Then we move on to exercise F. Here we have the square root of 81. Well, the square root of 81 is 9. And then we have minus 3 times the square root of 36. And the square root of 36 is 6. Then we calculate what this is. 9 minus 18. So the answer will be minus 9. And the nice thing about these exercises is that you can actually type this into your calculator. And then your calculator will tell you what the answer is. But then on a test, the only thing that you have to figure out are what are the intermediate steps. Because you do have to write them down. Moving on to exercise 15. You can see that it's the same thing that we have to do, only a bit more complicated, because here we have two things in brackets. First of all, we have 3 times the square root of 2 squared. So we're going to do 3 times 3 is 9, and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. So that's that answer. Minus, and then 2 squared is 4, and the square root of 5 squared is 5. Then we work this out. This is 18 minus 20, so the answer will be minus 2. And if you want to check your answer, you can just type this into your calculator and then you will have the answer. Moving on to the next exercise. Here there are no squares. It doesn't say squared anywhere. So that means that we can probably just work out what these square roots are. And we can, because here it says the square root of 9. And you should know that the square root of 9 is 3. And there's also a 3 in front of it. So I'm going to write that down over there. Plus 7 times, and then the square root of 25 is 5. So now we worked out all the square roots. Then we can just multiply this. This is 9 plus 35. So the answer will be 44. And that's the answer for 15b. And then moving on to 15c. Here we have minus square root of 5 squared. Right? So this means that this will be 5. Here the minus is in the brackets. And remember what I showed you over here. If the minus is in the brackets, your answer will be positive. If the minus is not in the brackets, your answer will be negative. So over here the answer will be positive. And the square root of 5 squared is just 5. Minus 5 squared is 25. So the answer will be minus 20. So this is the answer for 15c. Hopefully this makes the exercise a bit clear. Hopefully everybody knows what to do. If not, let me know and I can explain it again for you.